So, let's draft the same pattern for the body shape with bust circumference of 96 centimeters and underbust circumference of 75 centimeters. The difference of these measurements comprises 96 centimeters minus 75 centimeters equals 21 centimeters. Let's name our model Maria. Here are her measurements. Our task is to sew a strapless dress or a boat neck dress for Maria with a slim body and full young bust. To save time, I draft the pattern for Maria according to the algorithm described in the previous tutorials. I would like to draw your attention straight away to the deeper underbust dart on the front curve, C11 to C12. The half of this dart opening is C1 to C11 equals C1 to C12 equals 3 centimeters. Let's speculate. The fit under the cup is perfect. However, do we need to have such a tight fit of the corset for the full bust? Are you surprised with such a question? I am sure you are. Let me explain. Firstly, let's decide on the technique to sew this corset. Just imagine how much you should strengthen the front curve to prevent the cup from folding under the weight of the bust. No way can we even consider the wriggling boning. You might think that the plastic or metallic boning will do. There is a problem again. The curve is so bent, so these bones will not be inserted in the tunnels, and the desirable cup shape will not be achieved. The idea about the sewing cup with metallic framing pops up, but you wanted to make the corset with the cups cut in one piece, the front curves and straight upper cut. One of the methods to solve the problem with the cup folding under the weight of the full bust is to decrease the underbust dart in the curve at least down to 4 centimeters. C11 to C12 equals 4 centimeters. The half of the dart opening is C1 to C11 equals C1 to C12 equals 2 centimeters. Certainly, when you think about the solution for this problem, the first thought is to make straps, which can hold the cups and they won't fold. In this case, you can refuse the boning in the front curve if it is impossible to bend it much. Although this idea is wrong. Is it beautiful when the full bust is very high and almost out of the cups? Is it beautiful when a woman feels like a barrel-chested soldier on a parade? I don't think so. Therefore, if you want to make a garment with a straight upper line, you will need to minimize the bust both visually and physically. There is one interesting technique which I will describe. You should decrease the underbust dart opening on the curve by 2 centimeters and increase the underbust dart opening in the side seam by not more than 1 centimeter. Thus, we will increase the volume of the corset in the underbust line and move the corset away from the body, so that the bust can move down a bit into the void. Such construction functions as a minimizer to a certain extent. In other words, I add 2 centimeters in the curve under the bust and remove 1 centimeter in the side. The bust will dip into this additional distance between the corset and the body. However, such an option is possible for full and firm busts only. What do we need to do if the client is aged and the bust is not firm? On the one hand, we have a large cup. but the barrel chest effect is not desirable. On the other hand, the corset should fit the body under the bust, probably not so tight, but the soft bust should not move down. Therefore, we need to have support. This is where the bottom frame for the cup can help. I emphasize once again that this is the bottom frame for a one-piece cup. And when we sew on this frame, we will make some fullness, i.e., we will make an additional underbust dart, distributing it around the circumference of the frame. We still have a lot of discussion about this further on. The volume of the cup will be formed along the arc of the frame. And not only due to the deep underbust dart. Moreover, this small fullness along the arc of the frame will press the cup to the body, and it will be just enough that the bust does not fall between the garment and the body. The cup will remain of the moderate size visually, but there will be a good fit to the body, and the entire mammary gland will fit in this cup. At the same time, I do not recommend a one-piece cup with a bottom frame as well as a sew-in cup to women with a large and firm bust. But a quilted cup is more suitable for a large but aged bust. Now you can see that such details of pattern drafting cannot be studied separately from the sewing practice. That's why I want to point out that the corset drafting is closely connected with its sewing technique. So, how can we alter the corset pattern with two front curves and straight uppercut for Maria, who has the full bust and narrow hips? What pattern should we make so that we can sew the corset dress with two curves and high neckline, and at the same time to make the body of Maria more attractive? Firstly, we should decrease the underbust dart opening to 4 centimeters. Secondly, to move the remaining part to the dart, which gets from the bust center on the side piece and moves to the side seam. We don't want to have the flat cup. We should keep its volume. But that's not all. We have one more curve, which is also responsible for the beautiful body shape in the corset, and it requires unification. This is the side seam. The most popular, beautiful, and convenient for sewing is the waist fold in the side equal to 2 centimeters. In other words, the total side dart opening on the waistline should be about 4 centimeters. In my pattern, the total side dart opening in the waist is T11 to T12, equals 6.5 centimeters, which is too much. Let's leave the question unanswered for now. You know that according to the formula, the side dart opening on the waistline depends on the measurements bust circumference and waist circumference. This side dart opening on the waist will be individual for the different body types. Someone can have over 6 centimeters of the side dart opening, as in my case, and another person can have about 2 centimeters. During my experience, I saw the body shapes which had almost straight side seams. However, they had a voluminous and soft tummy and soft, full buttocks. The common sense dictates to redirect the excessive volumes in the front and back to the sides and hips. How can we do it if the drafting algorithm results in the pattern repeating the existing shape of the body? Once again, I will leave this question unanswered. You will get the solution further on. as we need to have some data for comparison to the next tutorial and to make it clear for you. Let's make the pattern for Maria with account for all conditions we have just discussed. First of all, we alter the bust area so that the future corset does not fold in the curves. To do so, we need to decrease the underbust dart and to keep the volume and fullness of the cup. I will use the layout of the upper part of the pattern so that I don't make alterations on the pattern. I cut the layout in the bust line, place it over the pattern, and make the opening of the underbust dart 4 centimeters. Please note there are 2 new darts, 1 and 2, in the bust line. Moreover, the central dart, 1, does not have anything to do with the dart, which is made to have a tight fit in the front center and the correct position of the cup in the cleavage. It appeared because I decreased the underbust dart. So, we are about to start the most difficult part in the pattern drafting for our body shape. If we leave the upper dart, 3, as it is and close the dart, 2, there will be very steep transitions from the cup to the body. The cup will get away from the bust almost perpendicularly as the front. This can worsen the body of the client. We should not leave the front curve in such a way. Therefore, we should reduce the opening of the upper dart 3. The first thought is to reduce the upper dart by the same value used to close the dart 2. I reduce the opening of the upper dart 3 by the value of the dart opening 2 and draw the new border of the upper dart 3 with the dotted line. However, I have a question mark there, as it is not that simple. We should remember that we work with a one-piece pattern, i.e. the front piece, and it is not sew-in cup, lingerie cup, or bra cup. That's why we should be very careful with the darts. On the one hand, the technique has certain requirements, and on the other hand, we cannot break the construction, so we need to think over such bottlenecks. For example, if the upper dart opening 3 is reduced by the value of the dart opening 2, or even by a part of its opening, the upper neckline, A2' to B3, will elongate, which will worsen the fit of the cup to the body. Therefore, it is necessary to shorten the neckline A2' to B3, but this will change the configuration of the side seam and lead to reduction of the length in the bust line. Luckily, I have a solution. Otherwise, I have to sew many mock-ups and experiment with the dart openings, the lengths of the neckline, and bust line to select the most appropriate option. As long as I have the solution to this problem, which is very logical and correct, I will not confuse you. I just wanted to describe the general situation before showing you the solution, so that you could understand what I am talking about. So, the alteration value of the upper dart opening, 3, is in question. We decided correctly that we need to close the dart 2 to keep the cup volume. However, if we close the dart 2, we will decrease the height of the side cut. Thus, it is necessary to elongate the side height from the point B3 upward by the value of the dart opening 2. I draw the new dotted neckline. However, the elongation value of the side line is still in question. Besides, the position of the dart 2 is in question as it is not the most optimal. From the technological point of view, the extra seam along the bust line toward the side will be disturbing. I will leave all questions for now. During the next tutorials, you will get the solution, which will answer all questions logically and correctly. In fact, I reduce the underbust dart and increase the side dart opening in the underbust line, and the pattern is more logical now. The side seam is more even, beautiful, and simpler for sewing. Therefore, it will be technologically easy to work with the corset pieces. Now let's go down the side seam to the waistline. As I said, the fold on the waist, the dart semi-opening, is to be about 2 centimeters. However, the body shape of Maria is a non-standard and slightly disproportional, as she has full bust and quite narrow hips. Such body shapes were common in my practice in Israel, and it helped me to find the correct solution for their pattern drafting. I don't see a need to alter the waist dart. If I change the waist dart opening in the side, I will have to alter the waist dart opening in the front and back curves. These alterations will require the necessity to recalculate the stomach and hip darts. It will lead to the additional work time and additional mock-ups to choose the best garment to suit Maria's body. If I take the decision to sew the corset for Maria according to my unaltered pattern, Maria will have to come for several fittings. Before the next tutorial, I suggest to think over the following questions. Which technology will you choose for this corset? Which underbust dart will you have in the side seam? I'll give you a hint. If the bust is young and firm, it is necessary to add 0.5 centimeters to the semi-openings of the underbust dart in the side seam. And if the bust is aged, you should add 0.7 to 0.8 centimeters. The dart in the front curve should be reduced slightly to prevent the movement of the bust between the corset and the body. So I am waiting for you in the next tutorial. To drill this tutorial, I suggest drafting the pattern according to my measurements of Maria and try to determine and analyze the problem which I told you about. This will be very useful.